have low vision, or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Dzień dobry. This is Joanne Yanitsky, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the January 8th, 2026 issue of the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Happy New Year to all. Just a reminder, grab paper, pencil, recorder, something, just in case you need to jot down or track email addresses or recipes or whatever it is we're going to cross in this issue of the Am-Pol Eagle. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not even sure what we're going to get into. However, there are some very nice photographs on the front page. There is a photograph of the combined choirs of District 9 Polish Singers Alliance of America, who performed at the Festival of Carols in St. Gregory the Great Church on January 4th. This photo is by Peter Sloan. And then we have a photograph of Melanie Bieback playing at the piano. We have a photograph of the Polish Saturday School Choir. We have a photograph of a Christmas display at St. Stanislaus Church in Buffalo. And there is a photograph of a buffet table and people helping themselves. It's a photograph of the Polish American Congress Western New York Division Christmas party. And that was held at the Clement Mansion in Buffalo on January 3rd, 2026. Members and guests shared a płatek, fine food, music, and fellowship. Polish Singers Alliance choirs shine brightly at Festival of Carols. Featuring a new venue, St. Gregory the Great Church in Williamsville, New York, the District 9 Polish Singers Alliance of America held its annual Festival of Carols on January 4th, 2026, with 3 of the choirs of District 9 and the Monsignor Adamski Polish Saturday School Choir, recently added to the ranks of junior choirs of the Alliance. The Chopin Singing Society, under the direction of Assistant Director Melanie Bieback, began the afternoon's festivities with their syncopated rendition of Bóg Zawitał, God Has Arrived, with its driving rhythm and joyous Welcome to Our Lord. 2 traditional kolendy followed. Bracia Patrze, Jeno, Brothers, Look How the Sky is Burning, with alternating parts between men and women and the full chorus on the piece. The Polish Saturday School Choir then offered both contemporary and traditional carols, including the poignant Kolenda dla Nieobecnych, Shadows Will Appear of Those Absent, reminding the audience of the special place at the Vigilia table for those who have died. Lula Jejuniu, Lullaby Sweet Jesus, followed, beautifully sung in rounds by the children. Brother and sister Oliver and Zosia Prokop then sang the contemporary carol, Bill Pasturek Bosse, a barefoot shepherd boy, followed by lively Shipy Voz, The Cart Creaks, 3 Kings Coming, and concluding with a rousing sing-along of Pada Śnieg, Jingle Bells. A special feature at this year's festival was the performance of Chopin's Scherzo No. 1 in B minor, Opus 20, a piece in which Chopin incorporated Lulaje Jejunyu, Bebek masterfully presented the gentle tones of the lullaby and the rousing music surrounding it. The Cantabile Choir from Oakville, Ontario, under the direction of Maria Lesniak, followed with 5 selections, including the Goralski song, Do Bethlehem Biezace, Shepherd's Run to Bethlehem, with its alternating rhythms. Plache Jesus, Little Jesus Cries, and Vitaime Jezusa, We Welcome Jesus, sung with the beautiful blend by the 6 women of the choir. The Symphonia Choir of Hamilton, Ontario, under the direction of Maria Lesniak, presented Betlehemski Pole Spi, Bethlehem's Field Sleep, Mizerna Chiha, Poor Quiet Stable, a crowd favorite, Jishai Bethlehem, Today in Bethlehem, and a lovely arrangement of Jesus Malushenki by Michael Dabrowski. Symphonia will be celebrating its 75th anniversary later in 2026. The program concluded with the combined choruses under the direction of Lesniak, with accompanist Ivan Dachenko singing Chiha Noc, Silent Night, O Święta Noc, O Holy Night, with Chopin soloists Melanie Bebek, Gemma Barbario, and James Mrozek. Ave Maria na Boże Narodzenia, composed by Dr. Thomas Witakowski after recovery from a serious illness and dedicated to the choruses of District 9, and Bog Sherodzi, God is Born. The audience offered a standing ovation to the performers. The program, with some additional choirs, will be reprised Sunday, January 11th at 2:30 p.m. at St. Stanislaus Costa Church in Hamilton, Ontario, followed by a Polish dinner. The local choirs travel by bus. If anyone is interested in attending, contact Mary Lou Verabek. Phone number 716-875-7513. Again, 716-875-7513. Back to page 1. This is there is a photograph of a Polish astronomer, Aleksander Wolszczan. Nice-looking man. The photo is by Jacek767 at Polish Wikipedia. Asteroid named after Polish astronomer. Another asteroid has joined the list of, quote, Polish objects in space, now officially named Wolszczan after Polish astronomer Aleksander Wolszczan, who discovered the first extrasolar planets. A Polish high school student was among the discoverers of the asteroid. The asteroid 805997, Wolszczan, I'm not going to tell you about its previous names because they're all numbers, was first spotted on June 12th, 2016, in an image taken with the Japanese Subaru telescope in Hawaii. The official naming was announced in WGSBN number 28 on December 15, 2025, published by the International Astronomical Union. 4 people discovered the asteroid from China, Japan, the United States, and Poland. One of them is Polish high school student Maria Vischer, who noticed the object during the summer of 2025. Vischer, a student at the Lyceum Wyszmierze High School in Katowice, also proposed naming the asteroid after Wolszczan. The asteroid was found as part of the Come On! Impacting Asteroids Project, an online platform that allows users to search for small solar system bodies and images taken by the 8-meter Subaru telescope. The asteroid is estimated to be 1.2 kilometers in diameter and orbits the Sun in the main asteroid belt with a period of 4.88 years at an average distance of 2.88 astronomical units, or about 430 million kilometers. Quote, the discoverers have the right to name asteroids. Initially, an asteroid receives a temporary designation indicating the year of the discovery and a sequential number. Once its orbit is well defined, it receives a permanent number and a name can be proposed. The IAU notes, quote, proposed names must meet criteria established by the International Astronomical Union, which alone assigns official names recognized worldwide, end quote. Alexander Wolszczan, born in 1946 in Szczecinek, is a Polish astronomer who in 1992, together with Dale Frail, discovered the first extrasolar planets orbiting the pulsar, PSR B1257 plus 12, using the Arecibo Observatory radio telescope. His research focuses on radio astronomy, pulsar studies, and extrasolar planets. Wolszczan earned his master's and doctorate degrees from Nicholas Copernicus University in Torun in 1969 and 75 and became a professor in 1998. From 1992 until his retirement in 2024, he worked at Pennsylvania State University in the United States. He also held positions at Nicholas Copernicus University in Torun, the Max Planck Institute for Radio Astronomy in Bonn, that would be Germany, the Nicholas Copernicus Astronomical Center of the Polish Academy of Sciences, Torun branch, and at Cornell and Princeton universities. The astronomer has received numerous distinctions, including the Officer's Cross of the Order of Merit of the Republic of Poland in 1995, the Commander's Cross of the Order of Polonia Restituta in 1997. He has been an honorary citizen of the city of Szczecin since 2006. He also has a Katarzyna Torun gingerbread on the Gingerbread Walk of Fame in Torun, launched in 2003. In science, Wolszczan has been awarded the Youth Award of the Polish Astronomical Society in 1977. And it goes on and on and on with so many awards. And this article is from PAP Science in Poland.pl. As long as we're on Poland, let's go to Polish News Bites. Poland strengthens border security. Poland continues to boost security along its eastern border with Belarus, responding to sustained migration pressures and hybrid threat concerns. According to the Polish border guard, nearly 30,000 attempts to illegally cross the Polish-Belarusian border were recorded in 2025. In response, the government has extended buffer zones and reintroduced stricter controls, while deploying additional physical barriers and surveillance systems, including thermal imaging cameras and taller mesh fencing. Officials emphasize that border security is imperative not only to manage irregular migration, but also to counter hybrid tactics used by hostile actors to destabilize the region. The measures align with broader efforts to modernize Poland's frontier defenses and improve operational readiness for both migrant flows and security threats. Record parcel volume. As Poles prepared for the holiday season, Poczta Polska reported a record number of parcels processed in the final week of December, reflecting a sharp surge in e-commerce and seasonal demand. The National Postal Service said its operations maintained high on-time delivery rates despite the unprecedented volume, a positive outcome attributed to recent logistical investments and operational reforms. Compared with the same period last year, parcel volumes were significantly higher, with average weekly shipments in December up roughly 26% over November levels and nearly 48% above the yearly weekly average. Rising respiratory illnesses. Poland's health authorities have reported a continued rise in respiratory infections, including flu, COVID-19, and RSV, prompting government coordination to address the uptake. The health ministry noted that flu morbidity is still high in several voivodeships, with pediatric hospital wards bolstering capacities to manage cases. Although recorded infections increased slightly compared to the prior week, reported data also suggested a moderate deceleration in flu among younger age groups, potentially linked to seasonal school breaks. Poland plans major anti-drone defense program. In response to past Russian drone incursions and evolving security threats, Poland is embarking on an ambitious $2 billion euro anti-drone defense initiative to fortify its eastern border. The multi-layered system will integrate radars, anti-aircraft cannons, jammers, and missile systems to detect and neutralize unmanned aerial threats. That takes us to our first break. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Let's go to Polonia's calendar. Saturday, January 17th, Mass of Remembrance for those buried at St. Stanislaus Cemetery. It's at 4 p.m. Vigil Mass at St. Stanislaus. The 4 p.m. Vigil Mass at St. Stanislaus Church, corner of Fillmore and Peckham, will be followed by a reception in the Marion Hall. Wednesday, January 21st, the PBW of Polonia meeting, Professional Businesswomen of Polonia. National Polka Month, presenter Michelle Kizluk of Polish Heritage Dancers of Western New York. It will be at Potts Banquet Hall, 41 South Rossler in Cheektowaga. There's a meeting, a dinner, and a program. Networking starts at 5:15 p.m. RSVP to Barbara Wetzel. There is a phone number, 716-725-7096. Again, 716-725-7096. Members are $35, $40 for guests. On Sunday, January 25th, Opłatek and Kolenda, Polish Christmas gathering sponsored by the Polish-American radio program St. Stanislaus Church, Buffalo, includes dinner, singing of Kolenda, and sharing of Opłatek. To reserve a spot, phone number 716-510-7562. Again, 716-510-7562. And finally, on Saturday, February 21st, Punchki and Polish pottery with instructor Michelle McLeod at St. Stanislaus Marion Hall, noon to 3 p.m. Includes paints, stencils, choice of bisque piece, and punchki. The cost is $50. Pre-registration is required. Phone number 716-854-5510. Again, 716-854-5510. And I don't remember seeing this before. I don't know if this is a new series, but it's This Week in the History of Buffalo's Polonia by Carl L. Buckeye. The following is a list of events that occurred during the week of January 8th to January 14th. On January 8th, 1921, Herbert Hoover visits Dąbrowski Hall during a stop in Buffalo to raise funds for starving children in Europe. January 8th, 1966, a civic banquet is held at the Hotel Statler to mark the official opening of the Millennium Year to celebrate 1,000 years of Christianity in Poland. Attendees included Vice President Hubert H. Humphrey. On January 9th, 1885, it's the birth date of Father Hyacinth Fudzinski, OFM Conv, the first pastor of Corpus Christi Parish and the first provincial of St. Anthony Province of the Conventual Franciscans. So the CONV stands for conventual. January 11th, 1892, Ignaz Jan Paderewski performs his first public concert in Buffalo at the Elmwood Music Hall. Well, that's kind of interesting. All the activities that were held in Buffalo so many years ago, all the way back to 1892. How about that? Okay. We have an article about AI chatbots. It's from Science in Poland, and let's just see what it has to say. I have a feeling I'm going to learn some things too. AI-based chatbots can influence voter attitudes more effectively than traditional political advertising, according to new research published in Nature. The international research team from Carnegie Mellon University, MIT, Cornell University, the University of Regina, and Jagiellonian University examined whether the latest AI systems could meaningfully shift political views in the United States, Canada, and Poland. Quote, in the context of the U.S. 2024 presidential election, the 2025 Canadian parliamentary elections, and the 2025 Polish presidential election, we randomly assigned participants to conversations with an AI model that advocated for one of the two main candidates. Co-author Gabriela Czarnek, Ph.D., from Jagiellonian University said, the U.S. portion of the study involved more than 2,300 Americans surveyed at the end of 2024. Before speaking with a chatbot, participants rated their preference for Democratic candidate Kamala Harris or Republican candidate Donald Trump on a 0 to 100 scale and assessed their likelihood of voting. They then engaged with a chatbot programmed to persuade them toward a specific candidate. The AI model was instructed to remain positive, respectful, fact-based, and to use analogies and rapport-building techniques. It also received information about each participant's initial preference to personalize its messaging. Participants completed the survey again immediately after the exchange and more than a month later. Quote, we observed significant persuasive effects on candidate preferences when the discussion focused on specific political issues, effects larger than those typically seen with traditional video advertisements. For example, the AI model supporting Donald Trump shifted potential Kamala Harris voters by 2.3 percentage points toward the Republican candidate. Meanwhile, the model supporting Kamala Harris moved likely Trump voters by 3.9 percentage points toward the Democratic candidate, Czarnek said. The study reports that these effects are roughly 4 times stronger than the influence of traditional advertising measured in the 2016 and 2020 election cycles. In Canada, more than 1,500 voters were assigned to speak with chatbots advocating for either Liberal Party leader Mark Carney or Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre during the week before the April 2025 federal election. The persuasive effect was nearly 3 times stronger than in the U.S., but dropped by more than half when the AI model was prevented from referencing facts and data. In Poland, more than 2,100 participants were surveyed during the 2 weeks preceding the May 2025 presidential election. Chatbots promoted either Civic Coalition candidate Rafał Trzaskowski or Law and Justice-backed candidate Karol Nawrocki. As in Canada, the persuasive impact was about 3 times greater than in the U.S. Removing the chatbot's ability to cite factual information reduced the effect by 78%. Researchers found that the AI models primarily relied on factual references and data. rarely using strategies common in political persuasion such as direct voting appeals, anger-based messaging, social pressure, or testimonials. Quote, however, not all of the information presented as factual was actually correct. In all three countries, AI models advocating for right-leaning candidates more often provided inaccurate claims than models promoting centrist candidates. This aligns with earlier research showing that in the U.S., right-leaning voters are more likely to share misleading content. Generative models appear to replicate information inequalities observed in society, Czarnek said. And again, that's from Science in Poland, PAP. Well, that was very interesting. Got to do more homework, I guess, on AI business. Polish sheep take patient therapy to the next level with unique observe, don't touch approach. There is a black and white photograph. It's a photograph of a flock of Polish heath sheep. The photo is by Marcin Zachwieja, One Health Polska. A flock of Polish heath sheep will support mental health recovery in Wielkopolska under a new animal-assisted therapy project led by the Poznan University of Life Sciences. The initiative, conducted in collaboration with One Health Polska, takes place in Kowanówko on the river Wełna, a village historically known for its sanatorium and hospital. According to the Poznan University Life Sciences press release, the project involves conducting animal-based therapy as part of an eco-psychiatry program, which links mental health to the natural environment. More and more research shows how contact with nature is crucial for our mental health. In a world dominated by stress, urbanization, and digital reality, simple interactions with nature, such as forest walks or animal watching, can significantly improve well-being, reduce anxiety, and support mental regeneration, end quote. The press release said. It noted that psychiatrists are collaborating with the project. 10 Polish heath sheep, one of the oldest Polish sheep breeds, have been placed on an island on the Wełna and will soon begin therapeutic walks. Quote, this is particularly close to my heart because observing animals from a distance allows for a deep immersion in their world without interference. Sheep, with their peaceful rhythm of life, are the ideal medium for such therapy, said ornithologist Professor Piotr Trzajanowski from the Poznan University of Life Sciences, co-initiator of the project, quoted in the press release. Monika Bartkowiak, president of One Health Polska, said, quote, we show how nature can support therapy while simultaneously caring for biodiversity, end quote. Professor Jacek Wojtowski, who helped select the sheep, said, quote, their small build makes them easier to maintain, and ecological grazing supports landscape conservation. They act like natural lawnmowers, preventing meadows from overgrowing, end quote. He added that the project could help revive a breed that, after years of population decline, deserves a renaissance. The university highlighted that the therapy focuses on observing the sheep from a safe distance. Quote, sheep-related therapies are developing around the world, but our model is unique. A room connected to the sheepfold allows to safely watch the animals' lives without risk to either party, the press release said. It added that observing the sheep's social behavior and grazing is expected to be both interesting and relaxing. Quote, "Our sheep graze in an overgrowing pasture with a very diverse botanical composition. Appropriate organization of quarter grazing will expand our knowledge of the animal's taste preferences and food selectivity, and in the long run, also of the impact of grazing on the vegetation of certain plant species," the project authors explained. Trjanowski and Wojtowski compared the initiative to changes in the role of horses. Quote, "We hope that this is not only therapy, but also a step toward rebuilding the Polish landscape and preserving native animal breeds," the project initiators said. How interesting. And up to our next break. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Let's go to Tom Tadapachki's Tom Talk, one of my favorites in the Am-Pol Eagle. I think this is going to be serious because it's about NATO. The title reads, Suwałki Gap, NATO's Soft Underbelly. You may have seen video from a recent House Armed Services Committee hearing when Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth was asked, name the NATO choke point in eastern Poland, crawling with nukes and strategically vital for U.S. reinforcements in case of Russian aggression. Eventually, the representative who asked the question, Democratic Congressman Eugene Vindeman, answered his own question. It's called the Suwałki Gap. He told the defense secretary, "You know this." However, it's uncertain if Hegseth really did know. Suwałki Gap has been called NATO's soft underbelly and, quote, the most dangerous place on Earth. The gap is a strip of land about 62 miles long located along the border of Poland and Lithuania. It extends from Kaliningrad, a Russian state on the Baltic, down to Belarus, an ally of Russia. It's named after the Polish city of Suwałki, which is located along the border. Kaliningrad, the former journey city of Königsberg, became part of Russia after World War II. It has no land border with mainland Russia. The gap is strategically important because Russia could possibly decide to seize it by attacking from Kaliningrad and Belarus. If that happened, Lithuania and the Baltic states of Latvia and Estonia would be cut off from Poland and the rest of NATO. The relatively small piece of land gained international attention when Russia annexed Crimea in 2014. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine, it got more focus when Lithuania followed through on the European Union sanctions imposed on Russia, blocking the movement of some Russian goods by rail to Kaliningrad. Kaliningrad has a significant military presence, an estimated 12,000 Russian troops stationed there, as well as bases used to launch missiles into Ukraine. In addition, there are 2 Russian training grounds located near the gap. However, the gap is largely undeveloped, with much of its terrain hilly and swampy, with forests, lakes, and rivers. It is believed that the name Suwałki comes from the Lithuanian Su, meaning near, and Valka, meaning creek or marsh. That terrain would make a conventional tank invasion difficult. If the Russians tried to move tanks along one of the 2 roads, they would be especially vulnerable to attack by drones and man-portable anti-tank missiles. It also helps that Sweden and Finland are now members of NATO. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the two historically non-aligned nations applied for and were admitted into the military and political alliance. Among other things, their membership strengthened NATO's presence in the Baltic region. If the Russians ever tried to take over the gap and cut off the Baltic states, supplies could be sent by air and sea from the Swedish island of Gotland, which is less than 100 miles from Latvia. The Poles and Lithuanians have increased their focus on the gap of late, and the two nations have conducted joint military exercises there. Since the massive incursion of Russian drones into Poland last September, the Poles have taken new measures to reinforce its eastern borders. Lithuania also announced that it would upgrade the main road from Vilnius to the Polish city of Augustów to allow for military transport. Due to its geographical location, the Suwałki Gap will remain a flashpoint in NATO-Russia relations. Dr. Damian Szakawa, a Polish political scientist at the Institute of Central Europe in Lublin, told RTE News. Dr. Szakawa believes that a direct military confrontation there is unlikely with Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine. However, he thinks that Russia will be engaged in informational and psychological operations intended to distract and confuse Polish and Lithuanian forces. Quote, "Anxiety is what Russia has been trying to create in the societies of the region for years," he added. We don't really know if Hegseth was really clueless about the Suwałki Gap or whether he just didn't want to engage with Vindeman, who is known as a foreign policy expert. Regardless, the Suwałki Gap is and will continue to be a very important strategic location that Poland and the rest of Europe will be watching closely. For a more detailed analysis about the Suwałki Gap, go to rte.ei. Excuse me, that's an internet address. rte.ei. There is a little black and white map showing Russia's border with Latvia and Belarus and Lithuania and Poland, and the part of Russia that is only connected to Belarus by the Suwałki Gap. It's very interesting. I never knew that part of Russia was separate from Russia, between Poland and Lithuania. My geography is just way too old, but then so am I. We're at the classic centerfold, and the photographs are beautiful. Photograph of the Christmas market in Krakow and Wrocław. Am-Pol Eagle reader Ella Krupa recently came back from a tour at the Christmas markets in Krakow and Wrocław. She loved it. It was her first time to Poland as a first-generation child. "My parents left the country during World War II and never went back." Ella says she plans to visit again with her husband, who is also of Polish descent. There is also a photograph by Peter Sloan of the manger scene in Assumption Church in Buffalo, the Black Rock neighborhood. There is a photograph of Reverend Cole Webster, pastor of the Greater East Buffalo family of parishes, as he blesses the manger at St. Adalbert Basilica. There is also a photograph of Reverend Brian Zelenieski, administrator of the Catholic community of Buffalo North, celebrating Mass at Assumption Church on Christmas morning. And that photo is by Stephen Kroczynski. And more photographs of mangers and churches. We have St. Adalbert Basilica of Buffalo. This had to be taken before Christmas morning because the baby is not in the manger. There is a photograph of Holy Mother of the Rosary Cathedral in Lancaster. Lovely, lovely, lovely manger scene. St. John Gualbert Church in Cheektowaga. Corpus Christi Church in Buffalo. St. Gregory the Great Church in Williamsville. St. Casimir Church in Buffalo. And at the bottom, the former M&A's Christmas window animations at St. Adalbert's Basilica in Buffalo. And these photos are by Peter Sloan, and we thank him for that. I'm scrolling through here to find more interesting things. Oh, I knew there'd be here. Take sweetness to new heights in the new year. A recipe. Let's see what we've got here. Easy lemon blueberry bars. I love both, and I happen to have picked 10 pounds of blueberries up at Child's Blueberry Farms in Cattaraugus County. I did that with my sister. She got 10 pounds too. So I can make this recipe. Whether you can't quite give up on the holiday treats or the festivities are continuing into 2026, these easy lemon blueberry bars offer a light, fruity bite. The melted white chocolate drizzle is just what gatherings with loved ones call for. There is a website. You can visit culinary.net for more delicious desserts to enjoy this year. But I'm going to slowly go through the easy lemon blueberry bars. Okay, 1 stick of butter melted, 1 box of lemon cake mix, 2 eggs, 1/3 cup fresh blueberries, 2/3 cup white chocolate chips divided, 1/3 cup chopped pecans. Heat oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, in a bowl, combine butter, cake mix, eggs, blueberries, 1/3 cup white chocolate chips, and pecans. Basically, you throw it all in a bowl and mix it. Butter a 7 by 11 inch pan and spread mixture evenly into the pan. Bake 30 to 35 minutes. Let cool, then melt remaining white chocolate chips and drizzle over the bars. If melted white chocolate chips are too thick, add a little oil before drizzling. That 7 by 11 inch pan is kind of an odd size. For people who have baked before, I'm guessing you could put it in an 8 by 8 or 9 by 9 square and keep an eye on it. Start with 30 minutes and keep an eye on it to see how it's doing in the oven, and you'll know when it's done. You don't want it to be gooey in the middle. But that does sound like a very, very nice treat, whether it's holidays or not. Let's see here. We have more photographs of the Polish American Congress, Western New York Division Christmas party. This was at the Clement Mansion on Delaware Avenue in Buffalo. And it appears to be quite the gala. Everyone was quite dressed up, and what appears to be a very, very nice turnout. There was singing and a very large buffet, entertainment. There was I'm guessing, it's the Symphonia Choir, the Cantabile Choir. I'm mixing, my bad, I'm mixing up the photographs. Two separate events. But there was entertainment at the Christmas party at the Clement Mansion, and there was a string quartet. I see someone on the grand piano. Let's see. It appears someone is singing with accompanist at the grand piano. Okay, so I'm going to go back to an editorial. Let's take our last break before I do this, because I'm going to mess up the time here. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Am-Pol Eagle on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. This idea of AI, or artificial intelligence, keeps coming up. It's not going away, let's face it. So there is an editorial here. There are good things about it, and there are certainly bad things about it, just like anything else when it comes to new technology. Is it time to put the brakes on artificial intelligence? Although many have lauded the advancements in artificial intelligence, the University of Cincinnati lists 8 of them: enhanced healthcare, boosted economic growth, climate change mitigation, advanced transportation, customer service excellence, scientific discovery, enhanced financial services, improved agriculture, and enhanced cybersecurity. People are beginning to wonder if it's becoming too much of a good thing. Consider the following. A recent Pew Research study reported, quote, Americans are much more concerned than excited about the increased use of AI in daily life, with a majority saying they want more control over how AI is used in their lives. Far larger shares say AI will erode rather than improve people's ability to think creatively and then form meaningful relationships. The Wall Street Journal this week reported that MIT physics professor Max Tegmark has been campaigning for AI safety and was invited by the Vatican to, quote, a conclave-style meeting of academics, entrepreneurs, and human rights advocates to draft a policy appeal on AI safety to present to Pope Leo, end quote. Science in Poland, in a story in this edition, notes researchers from the U.S., Canada, and Poland believe, quote, AI-based chatbots can influence voter attitudes more effectively than traditional political advertising, end quote. The Wall Street Journal story stated, quote, for more than a decade, Tegmark's organization, the Future of Life Institute, had been trying to raise the alarm that advanced AI could be catastrophic to humanity. Shortly after the launch of OpenAI's ChatGPT, the Future of Life Institute made a famous call for a pause in the most advanced AI development, end quote. Certainly, as Marie Skłodowska-Curie once said, quote, if we don't face our fears, we'll be stuck in the same place forever, end quote. This, however, doesn't appear to be a case of facing the fear of the unknown, as many researchers and scientists are raising concerns about a technological advancement that may be in need of some restraint. Okay. I'm scrolling here. A photograph of 4 handsome gentlemen. Carolers Visit Polish radio program. Polish carolers, led by Ted Szymanski, made a surprise visit during the live broadcast of the Polish American program on January 3rd. Szymanski and fellow member of the New Direction band Rick Pajanowski were joined by local musician Michał Zachowicz in singing kolędy during the show. Their appearance can be heard anytime at polishprogram.com. Host of the Polish American program, Andy Gołębiowski, is also organizing a Polish Christmas gathering for the entire community on January 25th at St. Stanislaus Church. The annual event, called Opłatek and Kolenda, includes dinner, singing kolędy, and sharing of opłatek. To reserve a spot, phone number 716-510-7562. Again, 716-510-7562. Do you want to see the art that will fly to the moon? The Kosciuszko Foundation Washington, D.C. Center will present The Real Within, a New Generation of Polish Realism, a group exhibition showcasing the work of contemporary Polish painters. This special exhibition brings together 8 contemporary Polish painters whose powerful work represents a new generation of artistic vision. Their paintings, from evocative figures and portraits to landscapes and still lifes, reflect the enduring legacy of Polish realism while pushing it forward with bold, emotional, and imaginative force. The opening reception is Saturday, January 10th, 2026, at Kosciuszko Foundation, Washington, D.C., on O Street Northwest. The event is free and open to the public. The artistic director is Daria Solar. Participating artists include Katarzyna Adamiak-Jaśnikowska, Ewa Ewangelista, Agnieszka Kotarska, Jakub Podlowski, Ewa Prączuk-Kuziak, Daria Solar, Katarzyna Widmanska, and Anna Vipik. What makes this exhibition even more extraordinary is that works by all 8 artists have been included in the Lunar Codex, a global archive of contemporary art, literature, music, poetry, and film that is being launched to the moon through NASA's Artemis program and partner lunar missions. The Lunar Codex is a not-for-profit cultural time capsule project that has already collected contributions from 50,000 plus artists across 263 countries and territories and 156 indigenous nations. These works are sent via commercial lunar payload missions and are intended as a message from humanity to the future, preserved on and around the moon as part of our shared heritage. For more information, click Events at website thekf, no space, THEKF.org. Well, isn't that interesting? And who knew all of this wonderful artwork was being sent to the moon? The Polish American Historical Association to hold 82nd annual meeting in Chicago. The Polish American Historical Association, PAHA, or PAHA, will hold its 82nd annual meeting in Chicago. That began a few days ago. And Over the course of 3 days, there will be a program of presentations by members exploring a wide range of topics with a particular focus on the history of American Polonia. There is a conference program. There is a website, PolishAmericanStudies.org. You have to poke around for it. The conference opened with a walking tour of Chicago, led by the outstanding guide Daniel Pogorzelski. And following the tour, participants gathered at the Polish Museum of America, where Jan Loris and Malgorzata Kot will presented a special session titled Polish Museum of America, Past, Present, and Future. Then there was a memorial session honoring the late Dr. Thaddeus V. Gromada, the organization's former president and a longtime highly esteemed member. They also included sessions contributing to American Polonia, yesterday and today, Polish marks on the land, gender journeys, World War I and the shaping of Polish diasporic identity, witness to war, Chicago is a Polish town, dividing lines, common ground and being Polish, representations across space, time, and language. Some interesting topics were discussed. There is also a list of different awards and prizes that were included. I think if you go to that program, and let me see if I can go back and find it and do it again, PolishAmericanStudies.org. And this is the Polish American Historical Association. Time to wrap it up. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the January 8th, 2026 issue of the Am-Pol Eagle. We read from the Am-Pol Eagle every Saturday at 3 p.m. Your reader has been Joanne Janicki. Thank you for listening. Do widzenia.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the Grand Island Niagara County Tribune Sentinel. At 5 o'clock, we have the Lockport Union Southern Journal. And at 6 o'clock, we've got the Wall Street Journal Off Duty. Stay tuned for these readings and more. If you're listening to this publication online, you're probably using our website, a podcast player like Spotify or iTunes, a streaming service like Zero, or a smart speaker. Did you know that we now have a dedicated app that can be downloaded to any mobile device, like a smartphone or tablet, for free? App users can conveniently access our live stream and any episode of our podcast easier than ever. To download the app, just type NFRRS in the search window in the Apple App Store or in the Google Play Store. Contact us anytime if you have any questions by calling 716-821-5555, extension 5. Thank you. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision,